From the first time I tested that I was positive, I was very afraid because I was afraid of losing my job. And I'm going to lose my friends or my boyfriend because they say, oh, you've got AIDS.
My initial response was absolute panic and fear because I have a child who has a condition where her skin is exposed for a lot of the time. We require to pop blisters often, which is needlework and a lot of exposed skin and stuff. And Veronica had been doing a lot of it because I was back at work. And then I went for counselling. They said that it'd be far safer for you to keep your family with people that you know are HIV positive. It's an open thing in the house. Everybody knows about it. And that you're very careful than employ somebody that you don't know is HIV positive and may not be as cautious or may not love your children as much.
For people with HIV, in terms of rights in the workplace, the law is actually very clear and very supportive of people with HIV. And the Employment Equity Act specifically mentions HIV status. It specifically says that discrimination against people on the grounds of HIV status is unfair.
What we do find, however, is in our day-to-day work that domestic workers are sent to the clinic or to the doctor to have a flu test without realizing that they're actually going to have an HIV test. And then, about a month after, the employer will call them in and say, look, that I've got some bad news for you. I can't keep you anymore. You are HIV positive.
The Employment Equity Act goes further and prohibits HIV testing. It has what we call Section 7.2, which says that employers may not request employees to test for HIV.
I think it is a responsibility of both the employers and the government to make sure that these drugs that can improve the conditions of those living with the virus are accessible. The battle is about accessibility and affordability of the drugs.
These drugs we're taking, it's AZT, 3CC, nevirapine, yes.
The CD4 count has climbed. I mean, she's a different person. Much better, much happier, smiling again for it.
Yes. But it also gives me a hope, or everybody that's positive. I want to rest, but I'm still okay. I'm still strong to work. I'm back because I'm not gonna die now.
There has been a great improvement since V's been on the ARV program, the pilot program, but unfortunately I don't think she's up to capacity work-wise yet. Also, I think what has crept in with her illness, or her condition rather, is that through her getting sick quite a lot, I have obviously been fairly lenient on what's expected of her work-wise.
The domestic worker is the most oppressed workforce within South Africa. They are isolated, they are exploited, they got the lowest possible slavery wages, and now on top, here comes HIV, here comes AIDS.
Having laws on paper is one thing, but having actual implementation and compliance, people following those laws, is another thing. Trade unions have to teach their members about the existence of these laws and have to encourage people to take advantage of these laws.
The case of Mrs. Mkhize, who's been a pioneer in fighting ignorance, discrimination, has also helped because she's been willingly going out in the front here, trying to fight to make teachers who are HIV positive be acceptable,
I had to tell the principal that I'm HIV positive because the parents were complaining because of my absenteeism. I was expecting the sympathy from the management and the district office, from the Department of Education, but to my surprise, I was so traumatized in such a way that I could not go anywhere.
HIV is still a very stigmatized illness. So workers who get sacked because of HIV don't often want to go and tell the shop steward that they sacked me because I had HIV. So quite often people hide the discrimination. Even the victims of the discrimination hide the discrimination.
I was expelled because it was found that the parents said I'm going to infect their children.
The Constitution says people have rights to fair labour practices, and the Constitution says people have rights to equality.
For me, people will come out, they'll break discrimination, they'll break the stigma if there's a clear path ahead. That if you're HIV positive, we're treated this way. Of course, there's education, but at least there's access. You don't have to die tomorrow. And if that hope is given, then really more people will come out.
Discrimination of workers by other workers, discrimination of workers by management, including wanton dismissals, refusal to cover by insurance companies, by medical aids of those that are affected by the disease, continue in all workplaces in our country, unabated. We've got to unite as the working people against HIV and AIDS.